I'm Dante. I run Dante Sports Data, where we find the most consistent players and teams across all sports every single day so you don't have to guess. Today we're going to be talking about parlays, what they are, how to use them, and how you can become profitable with them. At the end of this video, I'll show you my parlay strategy where I've been able to cash over 80% of individual legs on my slips. It's one of my favorite strategies to use, but a lot of people misuse parlays and set themselves up for failure. So we're going to cover all that in this video. So what is a parlay? A parlay is one bet made with multiple picks. All picks must win, and generally you'll have a higher payout than single bets. There are different ways you can structure parlays, but the most common way is the way right here. I'll show you an example. So let's say we want to put together a 3-leg parlay. We're going to have team A minus 110 odds, team B, that's also for this example, do minus 110 odds, and team C minus 110 odds. So if you wager $10 on the slip, you're going to win around $60, but all three must win. So if you win these first two bets, team B wins, but then you get down to team C and that does not hit, it ruins the whole parlay and you lose your $10. Versus if you would individually bet on these and wager $10 on each individual one and you won these first two bets, you would gain about $9 there, you'd lose 10 there, and you would still be profitable. But when you combine them all together, you're risking more in order for a bigger return. So how do parlays pay out? So if all picks win, the parlay wins. If any pick loses, the parlay loses. But if there is a push, let's say a game's canceled or it ends up, let's say you did an over-under and it ends exactly on that number, usually that leg will be voided and the payout on that slip will be adjusted. So you're going to get paid out as if you only did a 2-leg parlay if you did a 3-leg parlay and one of the legs is voided. So if you had your 3-leg parlay, we'll say we took all teams. We're doing teams in this example. They're minus 110 odds. If you put down $10 and win all those bets, you're going to get around a $50, $60 return. Now, if one of those bets loses, they all lose and you lose that $10. But if we have this situation up here where we have a push, let's say one of these legs get voided, like I said, a game gets canceled, or if it's a player prop, for example, he gets ruled out before the game, you locked in your 3-leg parlay, it's going to automatically adjust the odds and basically make it a 2-leg parlay. So your $10 is only going to return you then maybe $30 to $40. But it's technically less risky because now you're turning that into a 2-leg parlay. So why do people like parlays? Why is this the most popular strategy out there? You can turn small bets into bigger wins. For my example, I did a 3-leg parlay, but you'll see people doing 5, 10, 15, 20 leg parlays where the payout might be $10 to win $1,000, $5,000, even $10,000 depending on the odds. People also like them because you're getting action on multiple games at once. There's a lot more going on. But the big key here is they are harder to hit. And there's a reason that casinos and sportsbooks love the parlays, because generally the public gets a little bit greedy, tries to do too big of parlays, and way more often than not, they don't end up hitting. You do see crazy parlays that do hit. And honestly, the sportsbooks like to market those. If you'll see a big parlay that hits, why would a sportsbook be marketing it if they were losing money on that single bet? It's because it's going to motivate people to place more risky parlay bets and try to duplicate what that person did, when really what they did was they were basically playing the lottery. So let me show you my strategy for parlays, and I call this the quote-unquote safe parlay strategy, where you're able to play parlays and hit it an 80% rate on individual legs, and you can be profitable over time with this strategy. So let me show you what that looks like. So with my strategy, I like to do only 2 to 3 legs. I'm never doing 6 to 10. There is a time and place when sometimes I will do a lotto parlay for fun, and I have hit lotto parlays before, and it is a lot of fun. I've hit $25 to win over $1,000. It's fun, but over time, that's not the best strategy to pull a consistent profit. So what I like to do is safe odds and pick great spots. So what I'll do is I'll make a 3-leg parlay, and a lot of the times I'll like to do players, sometimes with teams, especially in college, I'll do a lot of teams. But for this, we'll do players, and I'm going to have player A, player B, and player C. So I'm going to show you actually an exact example on a play that I'm playing today in the NBA. So player A, which in this case is Lauri Markkanen, he's minus 265 odds. Miles Bridges minus 500 odds, and Domantas Sabonis minus 350 odds. And I get this a lot. People are like, oh, well, it's easy to hit these minus 350 legs. It's easy to hit minus 500 odds. People say that, but do that and see how many of those favorable odds end up losing on any given day. These aren't randomly chosen. So player A, which is Lauri Markkanen in this example, he hit 2+ three-pointers in 10 straight away games, and he's 3 for 3 versus Orlando. Miles Bridges has had 4+ rebounds in 14 straight away games and 4 for 5 in his career at Atlanta. And Domantas Sabonis has hit this line, which is 10+ points. In 14 of his last 16 games, he's 4 for 4 versus Cleveland, who he's playing. And the Cavs center, Evan Mobley, or power forward, who's their defensive anchor, is out, so their defense is going to be weaker. So what we do is we take players that are in favorable spots. All three players have proven to come through in this spot time and time again, and they have a beneficial matchup. Now, sometimes it won't be as much of a beneficial matchup. For example, Lauri Markkanen, Orlando Magic have pretty good defense, but he's more of a volume shooter, and he's proven to hit this versus this team. And they have some injuries today in their lineup, which is also going to affect their defensive rankings. A lot of times, these players that I'm picking are facing bottom 5 defenses in whatever stat we're targeting. And inside Dante's data, inside our VIP, we have hit rate sheets that show you the rankings on how each team is against each individual stat for each position. So it's very important that you're just not looking at general defensive rankings. It's very important to look at how that team is guarding that specific position. If you're doing overall defense, you're just taking an average and it does not show the whole picture. And I'll put a video at the end of this video. I'll link it so you can watch that and see how you can target these matchups position specific so you're not getting trapped and falling into the trap a lot of people do at looking at overall defense as an average. So the odds on this slip ended up being plus 112. So you put down $10, you're going to win about $11.12. So this is a safer parlay strategy where I've been able to hit over 80% of these legs on these types of bets. And you have to be careful when you're doing these because you got to be picking the right spots. It's just not going to the sports book and picking random favorited plays because they are not going to hit at an 80% rate if you're just picking random ones. It just simply does not work. There's only so many players on the board each day that actually fit this criteria, and that's what we identify inside Dante's data. Inside our VIP, we find these players in these spots, and there's only so many each day that are actually worth playing. So if this video helped, smash that like button and subscribe if you haven't. And here is a video on how to actually check those defensive rankings and make sure you don't fall into the trap of just looking at that overall general defensive ranking. So check out that video. I think it'll really help, and I will see you in the next one.